Right. Okay. On the 3rd of January 2026, Nicolás Maduro was taken from his residence with his wife from U.S. Special Forces. The order obviously came directly from the big man, Donald Trump. Thank you very again, Donald, to make this world a better place. Now, Nicolás Maduro stands accused of drug trafficking, even though the UN said no major drug trafficking comes from Venezuela as a producing country or as a pass by. And on top of that, the Donald Trump pardoned fairly recently, November 2025, former president of Honduras, Hernández, convicted of drug trafficking because, according to Donald, the trial was unfair and it was a setup. To make matter worse, for the poor Donald, the judge presiding the court is a 92-year-old. So there is a chance, not a good chance, but still a chance, that the judge will not be there when the if the case goes eventually to court. The other reason why Donald said that it was effectively taking over Venezuela, or potentially taking over Venezuela, was for the oil. Now, when there is a big news like this in the oil market, the market shrinks. In other words, the price of oil changes a lot. Now, at this stage, the price of oil after a week has not been changed pretty much at all. And to make matter worse, the CEOs of ExxonMobil, ConocoPhillips, Chevron, Shell, BP, they made no statements, no plans, nothing in reference to sending men over there in Venezuela to extract the oil, refine it, and use it for the US and Venezuela as well. What Donald, however, forgot to mention is that this year the US debt, the US Treasury has to refinance, so has to get enough money, $8 trillion. To give you a scale of what $8 trillion is, we need to think as somebody was born when Jesus was born, 2026 years ago. And every day, this person, man or woman, would have spent $1 million every single day. Now, up to this stage, after 2026 years, and after spending 1 million every day, he wouldn't have got to 1 trillion. Now, Donald has to find 8 of those, 8 trillion. Now, who's going to give him the money? Now, the likely candidate will be the very first likely candidate will be China. Unfortunately, in this instance, for Donald, 2007, China set up a program, Loan for Oil, with Venezuela. By 2018, it was buying pretty much all the oil from Venezuela. By 2024, he helped Venezuela to set up an alternative payment system to the dollar, as well as to be a regional partner for the BRICS. And guess what? 3rd of January 2026, we know what happened. Next best candidate are the big banks. Now, the biggest banks, the biggest financial institution in the world is called BlackRock. It manages 10 trillion, 10 of those big numbers. And in November 2025, this bank made a statement to say we're going to get effectively deleveraging from US assets. What it means in plain English that they're not only not going to buy more US assets and US debts, more like US debts, but they're going to get rid of the one they have. Next best candidate, even that they have no money, is the Europe. Now, unfortunately for Donald, in 1st of January 2026, the European Central Bank is started to implement a directive to make sure that if you hold dollar asset, you can lend less money. So the less money you can lend for a financial institution or a bank, the less you can make. So effectively, if you're holding US dollar and US debts, you can lend more and you can lend less and you can make less money. Therefore, it's a quite push to get rid of the US dollars debts that you have. Last but not least is Saudi Arabia, which is the biggest player in the Middle East. Now, the biggest customer of Saudi Arabia, as far as we know, up to this stage, is China. And we know that China won't rubber stamp this one. So, last but not least, the more likely candidate will be the aliens. So please send the money to Donald Trump and help him through this mess.